blameF was just unbelievable in the RMRs, and I think we've talked about before. I mean, you and I rate blameF pretty highly.
On this current roster, I actually think the most slam dunk signing is itself one of the more controversial ones, which is obviously blameF, because for some weird reason, this is a player, fans, it's just broken their brains, mate. Like,
I know what you're thinking. blameF on Inferno, I would rather die.
Right. They say that blameF is bad because Astralis benched him, and that Astralis benched him because blameF is bad, when all other indicators point to him not being bad. Like,
at a certain level, if you get 2 kills around, I said this before, you get 2 kills around, I don't give a shit if they're both exits. Even that has economic impact. If you're getting 2 kills every round, and you know, jokes aside, most of the rounds are not exits, he's actually getting frags, and he does get let down sometimes. There's going to be somebody that this can work for, okay? That's like my final line, okay? There has to be somebody that this can work for. You get 2 kills every round, somebody's got to be able to figure this out, right?
There really isn't a question. There isn't an interesting conversation to be had on who is the best modern Counter-Strike player not to ever win, quite literally, anything. It's blameF. It's not even close when you measure up how goddamn good he is and how little he has won in his already quite long career. I mean, look at these LAN wins he has. He has 5 LAN wins, but all of them are these small LANs, local LANs in Copenhagen, or the modern small buy-in LANs, which he has won a few here in the past 6 months. And when you talk about blameF's level, many people seem to agree he is a great rifler. Some people even argue that he's the best Danish player, which is an argument Maui Snake made a while back.
It was Pimp at IEM Rio who said that the best Danish player in the world is Tessus, or I mean, you know, the best Danish player. You don't have to add the in the world part, I suppose, but it's the best Danish player is Tessus. I can't see how it's not blameF, actually. I actually cannot see how it's not blameF.
A lot of analysts rate him high. He has placed 4 times in the HLTV top 20. But there has always been this great shadow following blameF, and that is that he is a baiter. Or is he a baiter? Now, this video isn't for answering that question. Now, Vu answered the question of is blameF a baiter a few years back.
If you've watched enough of blameF, you've seen plenty of these rounds where he hasn't really made a mistake. However, he has let the round pass by without having any impact when he had a chance to maybe make a play. And call it too much faith in his team. Maybe if Device was there, things would be different. But I have to say that this makes him a bit of a baiter. With that being said, if you watch EPL, it does seem like he's taking a lot more initiative, and it may have literally been that Astralis told him not to die.
Yeah, he seemed to arrive at the conclusion that, yeah, he probably is. But then again, what is baiting? When we ask that question philosophically, it's not that far from closing out rounds. And if you're a great closer, I mean, you're sort of baiting, but then again, not all of the 5 players in a team need to be aggressive and go for fights and throw caution to the wind. If everyone does that, you have a poor team with poor roles. So someone has to take that role, and blameF seems to find a lot of consistency and a lot of output in these positions. If you just look at the teams he's played on, I took a look. Every single team he's played on, he's been absolutely giga carrying. He's been amazing all the way back in Great Danes to Big. His rating has been hovering in the range of 1.2 at least. His worst rating was in Heroic, 1.18, and after that each team 1.2 plus. And I'm already ready for the comments that blameF a lot for baiting and people who think that he's a net negative for his teams. But I just don't think you can be this great individually, eye tests wise and statistically, and still be a net negative for your team. I think it's quite the opposite. And in most cases, numbers like this would take you to the GOAT debate of riflers. But the thing is, blameF just hasn't won anything. And I can't even come up with many comparisons when we look at blameF's career arc. It's sort of one of its kind. You could look at Zantares, like, playstyle wise, they are on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. But in terms of great riflers who haven't won much or anything, Zantares is up there. Now, he did get his big tournament win in PGL Masters Bucharest. I count that as a big win. It's a big tournament with a big prize pool with a lot of the top teams there. And Xantares has 2 top 20 placings, but he has his title now, he has his tournament win, and blameF doesn't. So honestly, blameF is just an anomaly. And I can't help stop thinking about blameF and his career and all the what ifs, and now looking at this big lineup, and I can't help thinking about, is he gonna get his trophies? Is he still gonna end up in the conversation of one of the best riflers ever? He's far from it. He needs to win a lot. He has to have a good few years when he's at the top in a good elite team. 28 years now. It's not too late for him. I mean, look at what Apex has done in the late stages of his career. He has won a lot. Talking about Apex, here's what he thinks about blameF.
Oh, Blame! Please, yes, man! Stop beating everyone! Come on! Go!
And another question is blameF to blame for not winning? The age-old question. Have his teams been good enough to win? Now, he still hasn't played in a great roster when you look at his teams on paper. All the way back in Heroic to Complexity to Astralis, Fnatic, now Big. These aren't teams on paper where you look at them where you can easily point out that they have a superstar or they have a couple of star players, and it's not like he has worked with golden teams and he has failed in such a drastic way that you could say that he didn't get the most out of his teams, or he wasn't a good part of those teams. Is it too late? It's never too late. It's never too late. And if blameF is a stock which you could buy, this is the moment where I would hit the buy button, and I would hit it quite hard. Because Big is looking really good. They've played only one tournament. They're gonna attend another LAN tournament in Sweden now. Say if they do well there as well, they're gonna get a lot of ranking points. And on paper, this Big roster looks like it could be the best, most talented roster that blameF has ever played on. I like how the roles fit. I like Grix as an AWPer, blameF as an superstar rifler potentially. Now he is in-game leading as well, but then again he has Tabsen, a long-time leader, helping him out. JDC in pretty good star positions. Faven, you could regard him as a pretty overqualified anchor. He was touted to be one of the next great things out of Germany, but now he's sort of playing in a smaller role, but mechanically he should be good enough there. And I took a look at a couple of maps that Big played in this Roman Imperium Cup that he won, focusing on mostly blameF and how he looks, and also trying to look at how Big plays. And the takeaways were, again, and anytime I really take a longer look at blameF's game, he is such a smart player, and not everyone has to be a sacrificial lamb. In fact, it's bad if everyone is. He values his life a lot on the server, and that can be so valuable. Just staying alive, pulling attention towards himself after taking contact, and that can allow his teammates to shine when the round breaks in a certain way where blameF takes the attention. Now they can pounce on that opportunity. He values his life a lot, and that's where the reputation of being a baiter comes off. And the thing is, in Counter-Strike, now this at this point this video will get philosophical, it's almost easier to be the sacrificial lamb, because then it's easy to dodge the blame. You can go, if you die, you can just say that, oh, I went in first, I got the info, or I rushed in for the trade, I went in brainlessly, and I just tried to help out the team in that way. And those feel like valuable things, and they can be. It might feel like you contribute as much as you can, but it can take even more courage to let the round play out, to not pounce the instant second something happens, not to react instantly. And this is where blameF, I think, makes his best plays. He doesn't brainlessly go in for the trade. Now, there were rounds on Mirage, for example, he's coming in the third player from the ramp, and he doesn't even think about the trade when the first player dies, because he has this other guy ahead of him. He can take the trade, and he is already focusing in on the next CT who's about to peak. And that can look baity, especially if the second player doesn't get the trade that he's supposed to get. Those are the plays that you'll end up looking really silly, and you'll end up looking like you sell your teammates. But in terms of round win percentage, I feel like blameF does make the plays that allows his team to win the most rounds. Sure, sometimes he is gonna end up selling his teammates. That happens when you're playing this type of a role. But I almost feel like him and James have something in common, and these players think a few steps ahead of the game, I feel like. And also, coming away from the demo watch, blameF is so aware of his positioning, and that means that it's very hard to kill him, and that also leads to the fact that it looks like baiting. He can spam 7 bullets, move away, and he's just not gonna make the play that some other player would make. Spam those 7 bullets, go away for a second, then spam 7 more. He pulls in, he reels it in, he lets the round work itself out, and that's where he plays the whole round, and he lets the clock also do work for him, and that also means it's really hard to punish him. And I can imagine he's probably one of the most annoying players to play against. And then just the fragging output, that's there too, just plain and simple. His aim is very good, and the way where he ends up getting 2 kills in a position where most people would get 1, and the fact that there are very few rounds where he ends up with 0 kills, he tends to get his own. Put him in a tough spot and he'll still make do. He'll still make it work. Like, it's pretty magnificent to watch at times. Just a very interesting player, and I can understand why he feels like one of the most hated players, because people hate baiting, and that's understandable. In your PUG games, in matchmaking, in Premier, baiters are annoying, but when baiting is part of a 5-man lineup, when the baiter's teammates understand how the baiter plays, that can help the team win, honestly. Especially when the baiter is very skilled mechanically, and he's very smart, and he knows exactly when to bait, when to apply pressure, when to make a lot of noise, for example, as he did on this one round on Ancient on B while his team was working mid. He put a lot of pressure on the B side. Like, he's not just sitting in a corner and waiting for his teammates to do something. So what have we learned? blameF, a great player historically, a lot of fragging output. Is he a baiter? Sure, he's a baiter, but he's also good at closing out rounds, and he's very smart player on the server. And I think he understands how the game of Counter-Strike is played to a T. And now he's on a team where I think a lot is possible. Now, Big is very far from actually winning tournaments. This feels like a team that is whole. The roles fit, blameF seems comfortable, at least for now. And I just can't see a world where blameF doesn't end up playing in a top 5 team in the coming 2 years. If it's Big, that would be surprising, but sure, crazier things have happened. Maybe they upgrade on one position and suddenly they have 3 almost superstar level players if blameF continues with his form, if Grix is as good as he looks, and then getting in at a 3rd player and suddenly you're cooking with gas. You could be a top 5 team. Or maybe he keeps fragging out, and maybe at some point a top team will give him a chance, because it's just too hard to ignore how good he is at this game. But blameF could also end up being one of the biggest anomalies in Counter-Strike ever. A player who looks very good on the server, a lot of mechanical talent, very smart decision making, but this shadow of being a baiter and seemingly top teams not wanting to play with him. Are they right in doing that, the top teams? Maybe they are, maybe they are not, maybe they are silly for not getting blameF on their teams. But yeah, you gotta wonder, is he ever going to win something? I think he is.